house is, and it's, I mean, barely extended. Well, just a tad, enough to where you can notice. So again, keep that in mind, right? So all of this was muscle. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Divine Reptiles, where it's usually feeding day. I love feeding day. However, I promise you guys, I won't be showing any of the feedings or anything like that. I'm gonna show you guys just something to think about. I get this question a lot, I see it a lot. What size mouse should I feed my snake? And in my opinion, I don't know really how to explain it, but I'm gonna try here, and I think you guys will be able to follow along. I see a lot of people say you shouldn't feed a mouse, or whatever it is, any bigger than the width of the fattest part of your snake. I don't know if I agree with that, right? I've been watching videos my whole life and feeding snakes for Lord knows how long. And in my opinion, the snakes are designed to expand a little, right? I mean, how many times have you seen an anaconda or a large python or boa in the wild that eats a deer and its body comes down and then the middle is like, it's huge all the way down, okay? So keep that in mind. I don't think it has to be quite as nerve-wracking as a lot of people make it out to be. So I got some mice and some rats here. Obviously, we know I have 6 snakes and they're all different sizes. So, what do you do and how do you make a decision of feeding a snake a potato chip, as far as DJ would be concerned, or feeding it what this is considered a large rat, right? So how do you distinguish between these two, how you're going to do it? Some of it, in my opinion, is just a little common sense, right? Obviously, my little boa, Stark, is not gonna eat this guy. And honestly, this rat would probably do a lot of damage to my snake. So there's 2 things I wanna make sure you guys know and remember. One is, if you go too big, in my opinion, as far as mice and rats, if you do go too big, the rat could tear your snake up, right? For example, if I put him in with my boa, and let's just say my boa bit that snake, this rat is gonna do some damage. Let me tell you right now, I will take a bite from every reptile I have in that room, as opposed to taking a bite from this dude. Trust me, it's happened, it's miserable. That rat went against a couple walls, threw him in the water, my boa hit him and drowned him, and I was like, take that, rat! I'm telling you, you get hyped if you get bit by a rat. The second thing I want to make sure I do say as well, right, that obviously if you have a smaller snake and it bites one, at the same time I see a lot of people say, I let my feeder mouse running around in the cage for 2, 3, 4 days. Do not do that. No. It's the same rule applies. If your snake's not hungry, I'm telling you, these little dudes are vicious. I don't care how big your snake is. If you're putting that size in with it and the snake isn't hungry, the mouse could do a lot of damage to your snake. Do not let that happen. I only give it maybe 30 minutes max. And if nothing's going on, we separate them and then we try it again later. So keep these things in mind. Again, you don't want to take a bite from this dude, I promise. Neither does your snake. So those are kind of things that you just got to keep in mind when you're trying to feed them, all right? So we're going to move on to the snakes, and I'm going to show you something to look at. All right. So for example, right, I have my red-tailed boa, one of them, Stathena, whichever y'all want to call it, male, female. I had her on these, and it was like she was swallowing this thing in one gulp, and I was like, man, that is just not enough, right? So I went from this, which, keep in mind, right, you go almost to the next step. Now the next step you got to keep in mind is kind of a big step when you go from feeder mice to even small rats. So, this is considered a small rat, right? So when you look at it, hey, look, as long as you're nice to them, that'll be nice to you. Right? So when you look at, hey, I mean, that's almost double the size. It's like holding on to them. That's about double the size. So, but I'm going to show you why I did it and then why I've stuck with it, because you guys are probably going to see it and be like, man, that snake isn't too small for this guy right here. But again, when snakes eat, you got to understand how their bodies are designed, right? That's why they eat them head first. And when they eat them head first, all of this, their shoulders and everything slides back. Their shoulders slide back, their body, everything, obviously the saliva and everything like that with the snakes goes down, and it almost coaxes it down. You got to remember that a big part of the snake's body, especially the first part, is all muscle. It's designed to expand to swallow the prey. So I'm gonna show Thina or Statham right now so that you guys can get an idea of where she was and where she is now. All right, so this is my girl, right? So this is Thina, the hypo BI boa constrictor, whatever y'all want to call her, right? So if you look right here, in my opinion, this is about the thickest part of her body. Now that rat I just showed you guys is going to be a little bigger than that. But again, they're designed, right? Their teeth, they come down, their jaws expand, almost 180 degrees. Teeth, their muscles, right? You see all of this right here. But there is no way that part right here, that mouse originally goes down, right, is huge compared to this. But it works it down. Remember, all of this, a huge part of this up here is strictly all muscle. It's designed to expand and swallow large prey. So when you sit here and look at it, again, I mean, she's thickest part of her body is not quite as big as that rat. And honestly, you won't even notice it. And I'll show you guys once she's done how she looks to kind of give you a comparison. She smells, she smells rat. I did wash my hands. Make sure you wash your hands before you get your snake out after touching mice. But they're literally sitting right here beside me, and I can tell in her body language that her tongue is, I smell dinner. Don't you? Yeah, I'm not gonna let you bite me in the face though. No. So that's first. Keep in mind, they're designed to do it. And again, she was feeding the little mice like a potato chip. So I went a little bigger, and honestly, she does it easy as well, but I'm not gonna take it to that next step, not quite yet, because honestly, that one rat does great for her. He's got me like handcuffed to my face. Hey. All right, so obviously DJ here, the bigger of my snakes. Okay, so he's a little over 6 feet. And you can, again, right, so people go off of that girth. A lot of people hate that word. Don't use that word, girth, right? But he's thick. I mean, he is. I mean, that's a full hand. Or okay. All right, here. You just go about your way, but don't go over there.
This is not smart.
Yeah, this is not smart, as you heard the wife say. I wasn't expecting it to be quite so crazy, but I want to at least give you guys that idea, right? So he goes to the larger mice. Look, sometimes you gotta be safe. Take the mice, move them away. He was a little more than I thought he was gonna be. Look, no biting, okay? All right, here. If I scratch you behind your ears, what if I do that? I get some of this shit off. Anyways, guys, the girth, right, I don't really go by that. So again, right, it comes down, he swallows it, all of this comes forward and then pulls the mouse in, right? If you ever watch it, it's the coolest thing ever. And as it goes down, that mouse, by its shoulders and everything, is literally just sucked right in. And that mouse might have been this big, but as all of that starts to work it shrinks that mouse, and therefore their body is able to handle a little larger than you would think, okay? But again, just keep that in mind that some of these steps, especially from a feeder mouse to a small or medium rat, you're looking almost double and then maybe even 3 times that size. For example, Olaf, my blizzard corn snake, I feed him 2 feeders because I don't think that he's at all ready or big enough to handle a rat of any size. So instead, I go for the 2 feeders. Again, you play that. He eats the feeders like a potato chip, but I do not think, and he's small. You gotta think corn snakes are pretty small. Do I think he might be able to handle a rat? Maybe. I mean, he's a good, 4, almost 5 foot snake, but I don't push it. Don't push it, but also don't panic. Use a little common sense, experiment, try. Do not leave the mouse or the rat in there, and definitely don't go way big. If it's a question, you can play with it. But don't go super big. I'm telling you, these rats will do a lot of damage to your snakes. And I hope it's been helpful. This is the calcium dust that I use. I love this stuff. I actually put it on my mice just about every other feeding. Literally, you can just put the containers you just saw the mice in. You just take a little bit of the dust and like popcorn. Shake them up. And they'll get some good calcium on them, and it definitely does help these guys with that for sure. You can also put it on your iguana food and things like that. People that are eating your fruits and veggies and produce. So I hope you guys did find this helpful. I had to get them out, so I figured I'd at least show this. I've seen this question coming up quite often. Leave me some comments below if you think, or if you're wondering what should or shouldn't you do. I got plenty of ideas, like I say. But until then, guys, love your snakes, love feeding your snakes. Have a wonderful day. I don't want to disturb her too much, right? But look, you can see right here is where that mouse is, and it's, I mean, barely extended. Well, just a tad, enough to where you can notice. So again, keep that in mind, right? So all of this was muscle, okay? And then it got to that point right there. That's where it stops, and now the body is designed to do its work, in which it's doing, in which her mind is like, are you about to feed me again? No, girl, we're not feeding you again.
I think you should say that it's only about 30 seconds after she swallowed it, but if you give this 10 minutes, you won't even be able to tell.
And know this, I mean, this is literally about 10, 15 seconds after she swallowed it. I mean, it goes quick through there, and I'm telling you, in about 10 minutes, you won't even see that hump whatsoever. But that does not mean I'm gonna take her up to the next level of rat. That right there is perfect for her once a week. She does phenomenal with it. You can tell she has got some girth to her. She's got some power to her. So I'm gonna let her just hang for a second before I put her back.